Mr. and Mrs. Seller, what does it cost you every month not to sell your home? Use those words. How low does the price have to go before you can no longer afford to sell your home? What if missing the price meant that you're still here not just 6 months from now, but you're here a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now? You're not in Tampa, spending time with your family, enjoying your new life in Tampa. I mean, one of the most important financial decisions you are going to make in your lifetime is selling your home. Get this wrong and you'll lose thousands and thousands of dollars. All right, happy Tuesday, everybody. Welcome to Survive to Thrive. Grab some pen and paper, get ready to take notes. So I've been thinking about you guys a lot, and in having conversations with a lot of my coaching clients across the country, and especially in the Carolinas right now, because, we're in this market shift, and we've been in a market shift, depending on where you live, for up to 2 years now. Except whenever I was having this conversation with you, I would hear from agents like Beth Preston and other agents in the Carolinas who would say, not here. Everything is good. But now we're starting to see a market shift in the Carolinas as well. So if you're feeling a little bit frustrated because properties are sitting on the market and they're not selling, or sellers are not listening to you, they're unrealistic, they want more for their home than what it's going to sell for, then today is for you. I've got some notes that I want to share with you, so let's just get started. Okay, so first of all, the ability to learn faster than your competitor may be the only sustainable competitive advantage. It's interesting because real estate agents are considered professionals. Attorneys are professionals. Doctors are professionals. Your CPA is a professional. But I think real estate is the only business where you are a professional and yet everybody knows more than you do. The next door neighbor knows more about selling real estate than you do. The seller's friends, family members, everybody knows more about real estate than you do. Now, whose fault is that? Okay, first of all, let me change the word fault to who's responsible for turning this around. It's you. Now, how do you do that? Number one, become the local economist of choice. When you talk in a way where you clearly know the real estate market better than anybody else does, you become a trusted professional, a trusted advisor. When you understand how many homes are on the market today, how does that compare to 6 months ago? How does that compare to a year ago? Why does that even matter? What's the average days on market? What's the average sale price to original list price? How do those things compare to 6 months ago and a year ago? How many homes are currently coming off the market? In other words, do you know the percentage of homes that are going on the market that are coming off the market as not sold? In some areas of the United States, that number is as high as 47%. So when you look at the listings that are on the market, you've got as high as 47% of the properties that are not selling. 2008, 9, 10, the last time we had a major market shift, the idea was that you wanted to be firstborn, second spouse, third realtor. And why is that? Because by the time you got that listing the third time, now you have a seller that's ready to listen. Now you can turn that around and help your seller listen to you the very first time. But again, you're responsible for this. All right, moving on. Cautious consumers appear willing to let good deals die and great opportunities pass them by of hopes of getting a steal. Wary of paying too much, buyers go too far and begin to offer too little, and only properties that appear to be serious bargains, listen to me, only properties that appear to be serious bargains get serious attention. You should write that down. You should internalize that. You should repeat that to the seller at the kitchen table when you're having a conversation with them. Only properties that appear to be serious bargains get serious attentions. Why is that? Well, you have more properties to choose from. Anytime I have more of anything to choose from, I'm going to get picky. I'm going to start comparing this to that. I'm looking for a deal. Only properties that appear to be serious bargains get serious attention. Sellers who are slow to recognize this shift will quickly become overpriced and consequently overlooked. If someone is to buy your listing, if someone is to buy the seller's home, sellers must be aware of and buy into the concept of a window of opportunity. This means that when a home first comes on the market, it attracts attention from those agents who are currently working with motivated buyers. So you've got real estate agents that are working with buyers right now. They're out there, they're looking for properties between $450,000 and $500,000. And the only reason they haven't gone under contract with that buyer yet is because they haven't found the right property for the buyer. So they're waiting for new listings to hit the market. The moment those listings hit the market, they get immediate attention. That's the window of opportunity. Now, if the seller misses the price during that window of opportunity, when they get immediate attention, the market judges them as being overpriced, and then they start to ignore them. And the seller has missed the window of opportunity because they started out with, can't we just try a higher price? We could always lower the price later on, or a buyer could always make an offer. Remember, sellers go to script school too. It's your job to outscript the seller. If any agent or their buyer believes that a house is poorly priced, it loses its opportunity and doesn't draw their attention. Continually changing market conditions and circumstances make pricing a skill as well as a science. All right, skill is the observation, science is the forecast. This is what I see. Based on what I see, here's what's happening. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, there are X number of properties on the market currently for sale right now. That's 50% more active listings than we had 6 months ago. We have more inventory. The average days on market has increased from an average of 60 days on the market to an average of 120 days on the market. Approximately 47% of the properties that are going on the market are not selling. They're coming off the market as expired listings. There's fewer deals being done right now. There were 4 million homes sold in 2025. If you compare that to 2021, there were 6.3 million homes sold. So you have fewer homes being sold. You have more homes for selling. There's the observation. Here's the forecast. As the market inventory continues to increase and fewer deals are being done, you have sellers who are competing for buyers. And the only way a seller wins the competition is to lower their price, to offer less than the other sellers. The sellers have to outbid one another in order to attract buyers. That's causing prices to go down. On average, when a market shifts, according to the National Association of Real Estate, and according to all of the research that I've done over the years, on average, a market shift lasts for about 2 years, which means if prices are dropping, they're probably going to continue to drop for the next 2 years. And then it usually takes about 3 or 4 years for the prices to come back. Most people think that real estate operates like a V market. Prices go down, they go back up at the same rate. That's not how it works. What actually happens is prices go down, they level off, and then they come back slowly. Ends up looking like a U market. So more than likely, your home is worth more today than it will be for the next 5 or 6 years. Are you guys getting this? This is the kind of communication you need to have with sellers at the kitchen table so that you can start getting listings at the right price. Stop being frustrated that they're not selling. If they're not selling, it's nobody else's fault but yours. By the way, if that's too harsh, I'm sorry, but if you can look in the mirror and you're the reason that you're not getting these listings sold, well, you can fix that. If it was truly somebody else's fault, I mean, if it was the market's fault, what are you going to do about that? You are making an observation and a forecast. The observation is the science, the forecast is a skill. Observation of current pricing is a science that requires a thorough, rational, fact-based analysis. Forecasting is an acquired skill, an inexact ability to predict market direction and speed. The best way to truly serve a seller in a shift is to persuade them to outthink other sellers. The best way to truly serve a seller in a shift is to persuade them to outthink other sellers they must compete against. So this is a competition. In order to sell your home, we have to beat the competition. Bill, there's currently 18 properties for sale between $450,000 and $500,000 within a 2 to 3 mile radius of your home in Akron, Ohio. And there are approximately 3 selling every 30 days, which means we have 6 months of inventory, which means prices are dropping. But it also means in order to sell your home, you've got to be one of the three. Three homes are going to sell in the next 30 days. By the way, that doesn't mean in 30 days there's only going to be 15 properties for sale because three homes are going to sell, four new listings are going to hit the market. And then the next month, three are going to sell and four more are going to hit the market. Inventory is increasing. This is how it works. So in order for you to sell your home, you need to be one of the three. Now, how can you be one of the three? Bottom 25% in price, top 25% in condition. It's a beauty pageant and a price war. You have to be better in condition and updates than the other homes that are for sale, and you have to be lower in price. That's the only way you're going to be one of the three that are going to sell in the next 30 days. You have to beat the competition. All right, so one of the best ways to sell this is using models. Pull out a piece of paper, start drawing pictures. The cost of overpricing in a stable market. So I'm going to go through each one of these numbers with you. Number one, fair market value is driven by what buyers will pay for perceived worth. Number two is sellers hoping for a higher price by pricing their home higher. They're hoping for a higher offer. Three is market interest. When the home first goes on the market, the amount of people that are looking into that property is going to increase over the next 30 days. That's the window of opportunity. However, as you can see the line, it falls from there until at the very, very bottom, nobody's looking at the home anymore. Number four, as listings become stale, market psychology reduces the sellable price. The sellable price is dropping. You started off at number one as the sellable price, even though market value is stable, as you can see, prices are not dropping because this seller priced their property too high. The sellable price is dropping below market value, and the property ends up selling for significantly less. If you look at number six, it ends up selling for significantly less than it would have if they would have started out at the right price to begin with. The cost of overpricing in a shifting market, this is what you guys are dealing with right now. You've got market value. You've got what the seller wants for their home. So they're going to try a higher price because they can always lower the price later on, or because a buyer can always make an offer. You've got eyes on the property. As soon as that property hits the market between 450 and 500, all the real estate agents that have buyers that are looking between 450 and 500 are going to look at the property. It gets immediate attention. As a matter of fact, that attention grows until it starts to fall. But as you can see, we're still up here, which means we're above the market. We're fishing with our bait out of the water, and that market value is falling because you're in a market shift. Prices are going down. The seller is making price adjustments. They lower the price. They make another price reduction. They make another price reduction, but they're still above where the home is going to sell. They miss that window of opportunity, and the home ends up selling for significantly less in a longer period of time than it would have if the seller would have started out right here at the right price. If they would have started out right here, we'll stay with 450 to 500. If they would have started right here, let's say at $460,000, they would have been in the market during the peak opportunity, that window of opportunity. They would have got an offer. They would have, the negotiating advantage goes to the seller. They would have ended up selling their home for close to 460, if not more than 460 in less than 30 days. But because they started here, the prices, they had to keep lowering the price, keep lowering the price. They're still above the market, and the home ends up selling for 430, maybe 440, maybe 420. But they lost $30,000 to $40,000 trying to make an extra $30,000 to $40,000, and it took them 120 days to get their home on the market. Now, as you're explaining this to a seller, you simply ask them, so based on this information, where do you think we should start? So based on the information that I shared with you, where do you think we should start? Seller says, I still want to try higher. My biggest concern for you is not that you're going to get less money for your home than you want. My biggest concern for you is that we're going to be having the same conversation 6 months from now, and it's even money. It's going to be even less money then. Remember, we're more motivated by avoiding pain than we are by going towards pleasure. It's called loss aversion. If you're having a conversation with that seller, what you want to do is take them to pain, park on pain. Shannon, if your home is still for sale 90 days from now, and you had a crystal ball, and you knew that you could have got $460,000 for your home in the first 30 days, or you were going to get $440,000 in 120 days. Which would you choose? Let's just say it's the same price, right, Bob? Let's say, Bob, if you knew that you were going to get $430,000 for your home, would you rather get $430,000 for your home in the next 30 days or 6 months from now? The answer is always going to be in the next 30 days. So if you have a seller who says, I don't know, what's the difference? Well, what's your holding costs? Mortgage, taxes, interest. What does it cost you every month not to sell your home? Use those words. What does it cost you every month not to sell your home? Well, $3,000 a month. So 6 months from now, you've paid $18,000 in holding costs. You sold your home for $430,000, the same you could have sold it for in the first 30 days, but you still lost $18,000 in holding cost. Now, remind me again, where are you moving to? Moving to Tampa. Why do you want to be in Tampa? Because I want to be close to my family. Got it. How low does the price have to go before you can no longer afford to sell your home? What if missing the price meant that you're still here, not just 6 months from now, but you're here a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now? You're not in Tampa, spending time with your family, enjoying your new life in Tampa. Because remember, when a price drops, when the market shifts, it doesn't happen for just a little bit. On average, it takes about 2 years to find the bottom, and it takes another 3 or 4 years for the prices to come back. So you could be 7 years away from your home being worth exactly what it is today. Now, if missing the market meant that you're still here, you're not in Tampa, 7 years from now, how do you feel about that? So based on the information that we shared, where do you think we should start? Always just go back to the seller and ask them, where do we need to be, guys? What's the right strategy? And one more thing, and then I'm going to go to questions, so you could raise your hands if you have questions. I want you to think of this like two ponds. I've got a pond between 450 and 500, and I've got another pond between 4 and 450. I look at both of those markets within a 2 to 3 mile radius of Bob's home, between 400 and 450, and between 450 and 500. One of them has 18 homes for sale, 3 are selling every 30 days. The other one has 12 homes for sale, 4 are selling every 30 days. Which one of those markets do you want to be in? If you were going fishing and you knew one pond had way more fish than the other pond, which pond would you want to go fishing in? Well, the one with more fish. I agree. Here's the two ponds we're looking at: 400 to 450, 450 to 500. Which pond do you want to go fishing in? Well, the one between 4 and 450. I agree. Ready to get started? All right, guys, talk to me.
This is Sean. I didn't raise my hand. I'm using this today. I've got a listing. These guys, I've been pounding the table. We were on Flex for a little while. One of the brothers just won't. He's exactly like what you said earlier. He knows more about real estate than anybody in the world. And so I'm using this today for the fourth week that I've told them they're too high.
Yeah, guys, you have to convey, and I'd say it. Look, I'm the professional. How often do you sell? How often do you move? Every 7 to 10 years? I got it. I close 5, 6, 7 homes every single month. You sell one every 10 years. Who knows more about this, how to sell your home? You or me? Now, that might be too direct for some of you, but I'd use it. Let's go, Jacqueline.
Okay, so I have one that's been on the market. I've talked about it before to you guys. I got it by somebody sent out, for sell by owner, and I went. And I later found out I went up against a bunch of agents. But he's elderly, and I guess we'll just say he's elderly. I guess he used to run a bunch of companies or whatever. And one time I was going to try to get the pricing down, and I thought, oh my God, I'm taking this last thing this man has away. We'll just wait a little longer. Well, we're at 2.25. I've had an offer at 2.1 and they wouldn't take it. I had one at 1.99, wouldn't take it. And so now the house next door is going to sell for 1.9. I do think this, which Joe Grant put in, is the same chart that you had, might help in this regard with this older person. And then what you just said, if I can kindly say, I'm the professional, I sell this many homes. I mean, I need you to listen to me. I know you
Right.
sold one this year, and just go at it kindly. But what else can you suggest?
That's right. I mean, when you go to the doctor and the doctor says, here's what you need to do in order to feel better, how many of you sit there and say, no, I don't agree with you. I think I know more than you do.
No, I just needed to speak it out loud so that I could work with it.
Yeah,
Thank you, John.
you got it. Lindsay, pal, I'm so glad to see you here. Talk to me.
Okay, sorry, I'm camera off. I'm a hot mess today. All right, so I actually did a for sale by owner preview and got to talking. How do you like? I was like leaning into the carrying cost thing, like we practice, and the woman's like, "Oh, this house is paid for because she comes from buku money, and she's giving all of this stuff of she's between two houses and everything." And so when I knew it was all smokescreen, but the challenge that I have is I know she's overpriced, but she knows she's overpriced, but there's perception that she's saving on doing it herself, not the agent's commission, and her carrying cost is like $400. And so the cost is the same. I'm confused on what my next pivot is when I don't see the urgency yet because it isn't pain right now.
Yeah,
So
so you changed the conversation from carrying costs to what would you do if your home sold today and you were to net $400,000? What are you doing with the $400,000?
So lean into her like kind of future dream and kind of pull that out. Because I was also pivoting like her time because asking the questions about her time spent and, kind of, are you enjoying this? How would you feel if you were still having to do this 4 months from now? And I don't know. She asked for me to do an analysis on her price. I didn't lose it completely, but I just didn't know how to pivot when I didn't have that to anchor.
Matthew Driscoll just put it in the chat. I agree. It's the watch script. Thank you, Matthew, for thinking about the playbook and going immediately to the right play. The play you want to run, Lindsay, is the watch script.
Okay, I know which one you're talking about. Yeah.
Okay. Let's go, Joe Grant.
Yeah, so a couple things. I actually threw them both in chat, but you guys are looking for pivot points. In the playbook, at what point are you not selling your home? At what price are you giving up on your dream of selling your home and moving to Tampa?
That's right.
So once you know why they're selling it, just ask the question. I had a seller that he wanted a certain amount, and it's like, okay, awesome. We've been on the market for 60 days. There's no more people looking at it. At what point are we not going to sell this home? And his answer was, I haven't made the mortgage payment in 3 months. I have to sell it before it forecloses. So then we went and we looked back at the numbers. Well, this is your break-even point. This is where the market's at. Where do you think we should be? We have to be below the market, but we have to be above the break-even so we're not a short sale. So those two lines, at what point are you not selling your home? And at what point are you giving up on the dream of selling your home and moving to wherever, are gold in anywhere you want.
So agree. So agree. And in that situation, Joe, and I know this is your niche, so you know this, but it's not a matter of what do we need to get so it's not a short sale. The market value is the market value is the market value. What a buyer is willing to pay is what a buyer is willing to pay. All of that stuff just doesn't matter. So this seller has two choices. He's either bringing money to the closing table or it's going to be a short sale, unless there is enough equity that he can walk away without owing money.
Yeah, but most people, it's like, well, my neighbor's house sell for this. Well, that's wonderful. However, we're selling your home as is. We're not doing any repairs. And with that, you got to just take a bare minimum of 10% right off the top, because that's the risk that the buyer's taking in.
There you go. There you go. Guys, for those of you who are asking questions about the Rainmaker playbook and the watch script, is it in there? I spent quite a bit of time this weekend updating the Rainmaker playbook. So there is an updated version of that coming out with quite a few more scripts in there. Okay, Michael Trelongo, talk to me.
Yeah, so just to revisit the everybody's an expert conversation, because it's a good one to have, because everybody's talking to everybody and they're listening to everybody but the agent. When you're in that position, it comes down to, yeah. So what I hear you saying, like, is let's put it into back to the doctor category. What I hear you saying is you want a second opinion. And I get a second opinion every day because I am consistently price watching the market. But let's sit down together and we will do the CMA and you will see what I'm seeing. And I'll explain it exactly how you want to do. And that's us getting a second opinion. So what you're talking about is not getting a second opinion. You're talking about jumping on the table, getting a scalpel, and opening yourself up and self-diagnosing your problem. Does that sound like something you would do if we were in a doctor's office? No. And this isn't surgery, and yet it is financial surgery on your home. And yeah, in this case, I am the doctor, and the doctor's in. What should we do?
There we go. I mean, one of the most important financial decisions you are going to make in your lifetime is selling your home. Get this wrong, and you'll lose thousands and thousands of dollars. Or worse yet, you miss out on the benefit of where you want to be, the reason why you're selling. Jacqueline, talk to me.
What is the response to him when he doesn't need the money? It is not about that at all. He just wants to be right and is willing to wait it out.
Yeah. So how long are you willing to wait it out for? Are you willing to wait it out for 7 years?
Jacqueline, that's a great opportunity for you to go ahead and pull some homes that did the same thing and share with him the result, because I've never seen anybody ever wait it out and get more.
Yeah,
it's some longer time and you get less. Yeah. When do you want your money?
Good stats for him and stuff. It has to be words, I think, is all it can be. He won't look at anything. He's older.
So history repeats itself. I just pull out a graph that shows what the market did between 2005 and 2015. And then ask them, what if this time is like that time?
Okay, that's good. Okay. I think he'll understand that. Thank you.
All right, make it a great day, everybody. That's a wrap.
Have a wonderful day. Thank you, John.
All right.
Thanks, John.
Thank you. My pleasure, guys.
Hundreds of agents have leveled up their systems and listings with Coach John's coaching. Your turn starts here. Scan the QR code to schedule your session.
And don't forget to subscribe and share this with someone who's serious about building long-term wealth in real estate.